Hello everyone, how are you today? It's Kay. So this is the 7th of November 2021 on Sunday. So I hope you're having a great Sunday today. And let's prepare for our trades for next week today by looking at the weekly charts and also some news for the next week. So let's see, let me get ready quickly. So how are you everyone? How's it going? Last week we had many big news, but next week, well actually this week we don't have any big news. We have a couple of big news, but I don't think they will impact the market so much. So I think this week in that sense will be less tricky. So let's see. All right, I'm ready. So let me squeeze my window itself and start the session. All right, so just as a quick disclaimer, the information today is basically based on my experience and knowledge. So when you take trades, please do at your own risk. And also, since this is live stream, if you can please follow the rules and guidelines, that will be great, because after all, we're all here to learn. All right, so let me say hi to everyone quickly. Hello, Jalaj and John, Laurent, Ivan, Muhammad, and M. Archback, Vladimir, good to see you here. Noel and Rajko, Chan, and Mr. Fernandez. Thank you for joining, everyone. Great to see you here. And I hope you're having a great weekend today. So let me see. All right, so let me turn to the chart and trading view, and we're gonna review the weekly chart today, because this is when the weekly candle close. And in the Forex pairs and other markets, if we see some trend directions based on the weekly chart, or if we see some significant candlestick patterns on weekly chart, it can affect the next week. This week's market. So in that sense, let's check and let's check the weekly chart and see what's happening in the market by Ichimoku. So let me turn to the chart. And here is Euro USD, and this is the weekly chart. So first, I will cover these 21 pairs on my watch list. So basically, I watch the Euro, USD, and AUD, Pound, JPY, CAD, and Swiss franc pairs. So I have 21 pairs on my watch list, and then I will cover these first. And after this, I will cover gold and WTI crude oil, and also indices for this week. So let's cover the Euro base pair first. So I will cover Euro USD, Euro AUD, Euro Pound, Euro JPY, Euro CAD, and Euro Swiss franc first. So here is Euro USD chart. And this is the weekly chart. And you see the Kumo's down, Kijun Sen is pointing down, Tenkan Sen is pointing down, and Chikou span below the candles. So this is bearish. So next week onwards, we can expect the market reverse N wave in this direction. And last week, finally, the market broke the Kumo. The close price became below the Senko span A, and this is the Kumo breakout. And since this is bearish, I expect the market continuously be bearish. So I will look for the sell chance next week once the market breaks the support level of 1.1524 level. If it breaks, then that will be a great sell chance next week. So next week, let's watch the daily chart or the lower time frames, and when it breaks, please look for the selling edge. In this case, I will never buy because the price is below the Kumo and below Kijun Sen, Tenkan Sen, Chikou span below the candles. So this is bearish. So like this, myself is a trend follower. So first, I capture the trend direction in higher time frames, and then once I confirm it, then I look for the trading edges by following that major direction. I never go against the major direction, and that's the key to success in the long run. So let's wait for the breakout support, and we'll look for the sell chance next week. And in the daily time frame or lower time frames, I will cover it next week during the week. But today, I just focus on the weekly chart. All right. Yes, thank you for joining, everyone. Good to see you. I see people keep joining here. So it's always nice to see everyone here in the community. So let's move on to the next one, Euro AUD weekly chart. So this one is still flat ranging. And we can see that the Kumo's too tiny, too short. And the Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen flat and Chikou span touching the past candle. This is basically ranging. So last week was bullish, but previous weeks has been bearish. So to me, this is range market. The market was at the previous support level of 1.5252, and it may retrace back to the Kijun-sen. But since Kumo is very close, if the market goes into the Kumo, then the market will be very tricky in the lower time frame. So most likely in this pair Euro AUD, I will stay away next week. Oh, I'm sorry, this week. Sorry, I keep saying next week because this is Sunday, but technically it's this week analysis. All right, so let's move on to the Euro Pound. Euro Pound also last week retraced all the way back to the Kijun-sen, and now it's range. I can see that the Kumo is sloping down still, and the Kijun-sen is pointing down. So this is technically bearish. So there is a chance that the market will be trending down by resisted by this descending trend line. So my view next week is bearish. I think it's gonna go down this way by rejected by this descending trend line and also the Kijun-sen. However, once the market breaks that level, these lines, then I won't look for the buy chance anymore. Sorry, I won't look for the sell chance anymore. So I think that will be the topic for this week. So if I see downtrend in the lower time frames, then I will look for the sell chance. Otherwise, I will stay away from Euro Pound. And the next one is Euro JPY. Euro JPY is also in the range because the Kumo flat, Kijun-sen flat. And in this Kumo, you might think that this is bullish because you can see that the Senko span B is up while Senko span A is flat. But to me, this is bearish because Senko span A is simply flat. And if you look at the Senko span A level, Senko span A has been resisted by the previous Senko span A level, and this is also the sign of the flat range market. So last week was bearish, and it's coming back to the Kijun-sen now, and from here we can't capture which way it's going. So simply we better stay away from Euro JPY this week. And the next one is Euro CAD. Euro CAD is bearish. The Kumo is sloping down. Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen flat, but the price itself is below the Kijun-sen and Chikou span below the candles. So simply wait for the market breaks the support level of 1.4293. Otherwise, it traces back to the Kijun-sen. So on the weekly basis, because there is no direction, we can't tell which way it's going. But the scenario would be you better wait for the breakout of 1.4443 to be able to buy and target to the Kijun-sen on the weekly chart, or market breaks a support level of 1.4293 and look for the sell chance. And if none of this happens, then you better stay away from the market. And the next one is Euro Swiss franc. Euro Swiss franc is downtrending right now, so I will be looking for the sell chance next week. The Kumo's down, Kijun-sen, Tenkan-sen pointing down, and Chikou span below the candles. And this level, 1.0502, is the previous support level from the May 2020. So it may be supported and retrace backwards. So simply, I would either wait for the breakout or since this is weekly chart, in the daily basis, we might see downtrend. So let's see, to the previous support level here, in pips wise, we have 43, 44 pips or 46 pips of range to trade. So if we see downtrend in the lower time frames, then we can look for the sell chance, and initial target is going to be on 1.0502. And expect the market breaks that level continuously next week. So Euro Swiss franc is bearish, so I will just mark this one as purple so that you know that this is bearish in the weekly chart. So next one, I will cover the USD base pairs. So first, USD JPY on the weekly chart. This is also bullish, and it's going up right now. And the Kumo flat, Kijun-sen, Tenkan-sen angles are flat, but since the price itself is above the Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, Kumo, and the Chikou span above the candles, this is bullish. And I'm still looking for the buy chance. Last week was bearish, so I wasn't able to buy, and just waiting for the pushback and look for the buy chance next week. So this is bullish, so let's wait for the market to go up continuously in that direction. But one thing is that the previous resistance level around 114.44 level was the previous resistance level in October 2018. So in that sense, in this case, it may retrace back to the Kijun-sen on the weekly chart or Tenkan-sen on the weekly chart and bounces and finally goes up in that direction. So I will simply wait for the resistance breakout, otherwise most likely I stay away. And the next one is USD-CAD pair. USD-CAD is ranging right now because Kumo flat, Kijun-sen, Tenkan-sen flat, and Chikou span is too close with the candles. So this is flat and ranging right now. Alright, so let's move on to the next one is USD-Swiss franc. This one is also ranging right now. We have Kumo flat, Kijun-sen flat, and Chikou span has been overlapping the previous candle. But one thing that is significant is that it broke the P wave. So if you see these two lines, two yellow lines, this is called P wave because you see the highs are getting lower and lows are getting higher. And this is P wave and Ichimoku. And last week it broke the P wave bearish. So from here, I expect the market continuously go down this way. So if I see bearish trend next week, then I will look for the sell chance. Otherwise, I will stay away. So let's now move on to pound base pairs. Pound USD on the weekly basis, this is range. The Kumo flat, Kijun-sen flat. And what's more important is that the market is within the Kumo now on the weekly chart. So even if you see downtrend on the daily basis or bearish in the lower time frames, the market might be spiky. It might retrace backwards anytime soon. So if you wish to trade pound USD next week, we have to be careful for the sudden retracement. You might get you might get stopped out on your positions. So most likely you better stay away is my advice. Alright, so the next one is pound JPY. This one is a bit ranging right now because the Kumo flat, Kijun-sen, Tenkan-sen flat, and price is on the Kijun-sen now, and Chikou span retraced back to the candles last week. So this is bearish, and it might become Y wave or P wave. We're not sure yet, but last week was bearish, so next week could be bearish, but we can't tell because it's range. It might go up and down, we're not sure which way it's going. Simply, we better stay away from pound JPY. And the next one is pound AUD. This one is also retracing, ranging. Last week was a pin bar. So one thing that is important is that if the market breaks, the support level of 1.8123, then we can look for the sell chance next week. Because this pin bar, previous week's pin bar, is very important. This means that the market is rejected for its bullish trend and now it's going down. So if you see the breakout of 1.8123, then I expect the market continuously be bearish this week. So this is price action. So it may break down and it may break the Kumo downwards next week also. Moving on to pound CAD. This one is also bearish. The Kumo down, Kijun Sen, Tenkan Sen down, and a Chikou span below the candles. But the price is now at the previous support levels here from 2020 December or June 2020. So this is at the support level and it may be traced backwards anytime soon. So even if you see bearish trend this week, it may be traced, so you have to be careful. So you better wait for the clear breakout of 1.6748, then look for the sell chance. Otherwise, it may be traced. And let's go to pound Swiss franc. This one is also a bit bearish because the market just broke the Kumo downwards last week. And now we have Tenkan Sen, Kijun Sen bearish and Chikou span below the candles too. So I expect the market continuously to be bearish, but one thing to remember is that you can draw the horizontal line on, hold on, let me delete all these lines. And I will just take this line over here. And this is 1.2255. Because you see the previous resistances here at this level, and now the market is coming back to that level. So from here, it may bounce and goes up. So although you see the Kumo breakout, in this case, it might not going to be trustable. So I would recommend to wait for that level 1.2255 to break and then look for the sell chance next week. Otherwise, we better stay away. So AUD USD, on the weekly chart, it's flat ranging. The Kumo Senko span is up, but the Kumo itself is too tiny, too short, and the market is within the Kumo now. So this is ranging. It's and we can't tell which way it's going in this case. And the next one is AUD CAD pair. This one is a bit bearish because the Kumo is sloping down and the market is below the Kijun Sen and Chikou span below the candles. So price action, it says it's range, but since the market is below the Kijun Sen, this is still bearish. So I would say as long as market is below the Kijun Sen, this is bearish. Otherwise, we have to be careful for the retracement. And the next one is AUD JPY. Yeah, AUD JPY last week reached at the top of the resistance level 85.60, but now it's retracing backwards. So in the lower time frames, we might see bearish, and the target in that case will be down on the Kijun Sen. So yeah, I think my expectation is that the market retrace back to the Kijun Sen on the weekly, which is 82.06. However, if market breaks the resistance level of 85.95, then for sure it's going to go up continuously. So let's see which way it's going. We have to wait in this case until either direction comes in this market in the lower time frame. And the next one is AUD Swiss franc. This one is a PR range right now. The Kumo is up, but this is too short, and the market is in the Kumo now, and the Kijun Sen flat. So this is range, and we can't tell which way it's going in this condition. Right, so the next one is CAD pairs. So CAD JPY, on the weekly basis, this is still bullish, but because the market is above Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, Kumo, and Chikou span above the candles. So one thing we can expect is that the market breaks the previous resistance level 92.97 and look for the buy chance afterwards. Otherwise, it may continue to retrace back to the Kijun-sen on the weekly, which is 88.96. So if we see bearish trend next week on the lower time frames, that will be the target. Otherwise, it breaks it and goes up in this direction. And the next one is CAD Swiss franc. CAD Swiss franc is now ranging also. The Kumo flat, Kijun-sen flat, and Chikou span is still too close with the candles. And yeah, the market was resisted at the top here, 0.7521, and now it's retracing back to Kijun-sen. So whenever you see Kijun-sen flat like this on any time frames, the market tends to retrace back to Kijun-sen. And since the market is very close to Kijun-sen from here, we're not sure which way it's going. Sometimes the market bounces by the Kijun-sen and goes up, but sometimes the market breaks the Kijun-sen and continuously go down. But since we have no direction, we're not sure which way it's going. So in the lower time frame, like daily chart, it's bearish. So as long as the market goes bearish in the lower time frames, we can follow. But once it stops, then we better stay away. And the next one, the last one is Swiss franc JPY. Swiss franc JPY is still bullish because this is uptrending. The Kumo's up, Kijun-sen is up, and Chikou span above the candles. So last week was pin bar, and it was rejected at the previous resistance level, 125.52 level. But since this is still bullish, I expect the market to continuously go up next week. So if we see uptrend next week in the lower time frame, then we can look for buy chance. Otherwise, the Kijun-sen will turn flat and the market retraces back to Kijun-sen. So that covers the whole pairs, 21 pairs on my watch list. So now let's move on to the commodity gold and WTI crude oil. So here is gold, and on the weekly chart basis, this is still a range. The market has been ranging the whole time since I would say since 8th of March this year. The market has been ranging just up and down, and last week was bullish, but this bullishness is a bit too small as compared to the previous big up and down trends. This is still bearish or small, so this is range. So I think next week the market continuously go up because in the lower time frames it's up, like in the daily chart or the forward charts, it says it's uptrending, but on the weekly basis this is range. So what can happen in this condition is that the market might reach to the previous resistance level of 1832.74, and afterwards it could retrace backwards. So but in this case, because there is no direction, it's very difficult to capture which way it's going. So I would recommend to buy after the breakout of the resistance at 1832.74. Otherwise, stay away. And I have captured time cycles last week on the daily chart, and I will talk about it more details next week during the weekday. All right, so let's move on to the next one. This is WTI crude oil. This one is still bullish. I can see that the Kumo's up. Technically, Senko span B is up and Senko span A is up. And Kijun-sen is flat, but Tenkan-sen is bullish and Chikou span above the candles. So this is bullish, and the market retraced back to the previous resistance level of 79.19. So next week, my expectation is a bounce and goes up in this direction. So, and because there is no sign of retracement right now, so I think next week or next week it's gonna be uptrending continuously. So now let's move on to the indices. So first I will cover Nikkei. So Nikkei is still flat right now. There is no direction on Nikkei. The Kumo Senko Span B is up, but Senko Span A flat, and also Kijun Sen Tenkan Sen flat, and there is no direction. And you see Chikou Span is also overlapping the candles, and this is range. And there is no direction, so we better simply stay away is my advice. I don't think the market will be trending anytime soon on Nikkei, so I think simply we better stay away. And the next one is this is Dow Jones. Dow Jones is bullish still. This is bullish simply because the Kumo's up, Kijun Sen Tenkan Sen up, and the Chikou Span above the candles. So yeah, like I've been saying this one, the market has been bullish. So simply all we can do is just follow the uptrend. Follow the uptrend until it stops. But it doesn't stop right now, so that means we can still trail the profit, or we can still look for the buy chance right now. And let's move on to Nasdaq. Nasdaq also is bullish after the breakout of the previous resistance level 15,714.6, and now it's going up. Kumo up, Kijun Sen Tenkan Sen up, and Chikou Span above the candles, and this is exactly bullish trend right now. Alright, and let's move on to S&P 500. This is also bullish. It has been bullish right now. Everything's up, broke the previous resistance, and now this is bullish, and there is no sign of retracement right now. Yeah, so let's move on to the Euro stocks. Euro stocks also bullish. The market just broke also the previous resistance level, and also now it's going up and broke the round number 2, 4,300, and now this is bullish after the breakout of the P wave also. So this is bullish, and I expect the market also continues to be bullish trend. And the next one is FTSE 100. This one is also bullish right now after the breakout of the resistance. Like I have been mentioning before, this is bullish. The Kumo's up, Kijun Sen Tenkan Sen up, and Chikou Span above the candles, and there is no sign retracement. So this is still bullish, and we can continuously look for the buy chance. So now let's move on to some other indices. So CAC France. CAC France is also bullish. Like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, it's bullish. It just broke the resistance level last week, and now it also broke the round number 7,000. So this is also bullish, and this uptrend can be continuous. I mean, it might retrace back to the previous resistance level of 6907.5, but I do see that there is a potential continuous bullish trend right now. This way. Okay, and let's move on to DAX index. DAX also slightly broke the previous resistance level. Finally, after a range market, it broke the previous resistance level last week of 16,039.3 level, and that's making the Kumo and Kijun Sen Tenkan Sen up, and Chikou Span is now above the candles. So in my eyes, this is bullish, and I expect the market continuously be bullish in this direction. So next target in this case is the initial target will be the next round number of 16,400, around this area, 16,400, and the ultimate target will be 1700. So I will just put these lines and continue to monitor until the market reaches these levels. So the next one is Nifty chart. So Nifty still be bullish because we had retracement last couple of weeks, but now it's still bullish simply because the Kumo is still up and Kijun Sen is up and Tenkan Sen also bullish and Chikou span above the candles. Yeah, so this is bullish trend, and as long as market is above the Tenkan Sen, this is bullish because we saw the previous Tenkan Sen bounce before on the weekly chart. So if the market breaks the Tenkan Sen, then it may retrace back to the Kijun Sen. Otherwise, this is too bullish, and I will just put the line and expect the market goes up continuously in this direction. So moving on to AU200. AU200 is now range per Ichimoku still because this is the Kumo's flat, Senkou span B is flat, but Senkou span B is up, but Senkou span A is flat right now, and Kijun Sen, Tenkan Sen flat. So this is range, and this is called P wave. So I will just draw the line like this way and see if it breaks some weeks later. Until the breakout happens, it will be continuously in the range. So let's see if it happens this week or not. And finally, I will cover Hang Seng Index. Hang Seng is last week was bearish, but now overall is ranging because Kumo flat, Kijun Sen flat. So we are not sure which way it's going right now. So now let's cover some news. All right, thank you for joining, everyone. I do see many comments. So let me come back to your comments after I cover the news for this week. All right, so we have on Monday, we have no big news. And Tuesday on the 9th, we have only one news, which is BOC's governor speech in Canada. So CAD pairs can be affected by this. And Wednesday, November the 10th, we have harmonized index of consumer price in Germany. So Euro pairs can be affected by this. And also in the US, there is CPI report also. So USD, we have to watch out next Wednesday. And moving on to 11th Thursday, we have unemployment rate in Australia. So AUD can be affected by this. And also in UK, there will be also a GDP report. So pound pairs have to be careful on Thursday. And Friday, we have only one news, I believe. Yeah, only one news, which will be Michigan consumer sentiment report. So you have to be careful on the USD next Friday. But overall, next week, we have some big news, but I don't think they will affect the market. But we have to watch out. Every time you trade, you have to see if there's a big news or not. And if there is a big news like this, we have to stay away. Because we never know how much impact these news can give next week. But relatively speaking, these are relatively smaller news. So yeah, the impact might be limited next week. Okay, so that covers the whole topics for the analysis and the forecast. So let's cover some comments right now for the next 20 minutes or so until the end of the live today. All right, so once again, thank you for joining, everyone. Great to see you on this weekend. If you liked it so far, please press the like button before you leave. That will be great to keep me going. All right, so let's see. All right, yeah, I do see many comments right now, so let me cover Okay, Eugene says, question trading view versus MT4, MT5. In my opinion, trading platform is great on MT4, MT5, but when it comes to analysis, I recommend trading view because trading view just look great. And not only that it's great, but also if you're using mobile trading view, everything synchronizes. So for example, I draw the lines and arrows, or I have Ichimoku Kinko Hyo in this color setting, and automatically it reflects on mobile app. Even watch list and also templates are reflected on mobile app, and that's what I like about the trading view. By MT4, MT5, even if you set the colors and lines on the PC, it won't be reflected on the mobile. So for analysis, I think trading view is great, but for the trading, I think MT5 is great. Yeah, good to see you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay, Hussein says, I think gold has breakout. I'm likely to buy 1774 target, 1880 level. All right, so I think, yeah, gold is bullish in the lower time frames. So coming back to here, yeah, weekly shows flat and market is now within the Kumo. So this is range to me. But if you look at the daily chart, it's bullish now. It just broke the previous high. Very shallow breakout. So in this case, it may retrace next week. But it may go up to the resistance level of 1834.50. So that will be an initial target. But as I mentioned previously, I will prefer to wait for a breakout of the resistance level and continue to look for buy chance afterwards. Miguel says, pound CAD is a long-term support and I'm looking to long to the other range extreme. What would you do for confirmation? Right, so pound CAD, let me see. So let's see, pound CAD, it's bearish. And on the weekly chart, it's also bearish. But since there are a couple of support levels here on this range, the tip of the support is 1.6768. So in that sense, the market might bounce here and goes up. So what I usually do in this case is, as long as market is trending down, so that means as long as the Kumo down, Kijun Sen down, and Tenkan Sen down, Chikou span below the candles, I continuously look for the sell chance. But if I start to see Kumo flat and Kijun Sen flat, and especially if I start to see the Chikou span touches previous candles, then I don't look for the sell chance anymore. So in my eyes, this is still bearish, but it may retrace backwards because the market is at the previous support level, and we have this pin bar candlestick. So it may turn bullish. So I will either look for the sell chance next Monday, or simply wait for the support line breakout, the support level of 1.6749 level breakout, and look for the sell chance afterwards. All right. Cam says, what is the indicator? Yes, this is Ichimoku Kinko Hyo indicator. John Harris says, is it possible to trade the Sanyaku Gyakuten on the 1 hour chart? Yeah, you can trade with Sanyaku Koten or Sanyaku Gyakuten signals on 1 hour chart or above time frames, but you better also look at the price action lines. You can trade with the Ichimoku signals itself. You know, sometimes letter says, you know, sell at the Kumo breakout or buy at the Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen cross. And it doesn't work like that in Ichimoku actually. You have to see the price action lines and you have to see market in different angles with these Ichimoku confirmations and then take trades. Stefano says, what about travel sector? I haven't looked at the travel sectors, I'm not sure. I'm a Forex trader and I don't really look at the stock market. I don't trade the stock market. So if you have any questions about the Forex market, you can write it on the chat. Carbon says, when to draw the forecast lines? Well, the forecast lines can be drawn on the weekly or the daily chart when you see retracement. So for example, let's see, when it starts to retrace, so for example, Euro JPY, you have the previous top here, 31st of May, and you can draw one line to Senko span B, and Senko span B is here, and the other one to Senko span A, and you have the focus lines like this. And right now you can see that the price is above the focus lines and we can expect the market goes up in this direction. So when you see retracing market, that's when you can use the focus lines. But when it's range, you can't really use the focus lines. Focus lines can be used when you see retracing market like this. Retracing back to the Kumo like this, then you draw the focus lines. Let's see. John Harris says, just to confirm as well, once Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, and both Senko span A, B are flat, we just wait, correct? Yes, that is true. Yeah, if all the 100 lines are flat, then that means you better stay away. It's range, and it's very difficult to see which way it's going. Stefano says, if any black swan comes out, war in Bosnia, the indices go down. Could be. Yeah. Let's see. Alexandra says, hi Kay, I hope you're fine. I love your videos and I have a dream to become good at trading. Sure. It is possible to become good at trading and become full-time. Yeah, please continue to practice and continue to train yourself in terms of capturing the market direction and look for the trading edge, and you have to also know about the risk management and continue to practice, and then you will be very good at it. Yeah, most of the cases, if you're still not profitable or if you're not still confident on your system, most probably that's due to lack of experience. So, and also you have to collect the data. Like I mentioned yesterday, like you have to see your stats. So I recommend everybody to do at least 100 trades. Do at least 100 trades in Forex Tester or back testing, or you can do it on the real trades. At least do 100 trades and see the result overall. You have to have at least profit factor, which is risk and reward ratio in money, should be at least 5 in the back testing. And then in the real trades, most likely you will have the profit factor 2 or 3 in average. Otherwise, I don't recommend you to trade on the real money, on the real trades. But because that creates confidence also, and that creates your less emotion. You will be less emotional when you take trades. Even if you lose 3 times per day or 3 times per week, you don't feel anything because you know that is the part of the process And also you know that that is also what can happen based on your backtesting, based on your strategy. So, to be able to confident, you have to see your own stats. So yeah, don't be happy with only one single winners or only one single big profit, or don't be sad with only one single loss. We have to see the overall stats because that's the truth in numbers. Robert says, Thursday is US bank holiday. Do you trade during important bank holidays? Yes, I do. As long as I see the trending directions, then I will still trade. Yeah, but thank you for the info. Next Thursday is the US bank holiday, so the volatility might be less. Yeah, let's see. Chan says Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right, let me check the crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Although I don't trade cryptos, I can just give you some idea here. So let's see. Okay, weekly chart Bitcoin looks to be flat right now. We see Kumo flat, Kijun Sen flat, Tenkan Sen flat. So in this condition, if this is Forex, then the market could retrace back to the Tenkan Sen or Kijun Sen. So I would wait for the breakout of the previous high around 65,000, then look for the buy chance. Or just wait for the pullback to Tenkan Sen, Kijun Sen, and look for the pushback afterwards and look for the buy chance then. But to me, this is bearish. And we had 3 consecutive doji candles for the last 3 weeks. So we know that there are lots of stop orders above and below these 3 consecutive dojis. So once the stop losses are triggered, either up or down, I think the market will go towards that direction. So until either happened, that will be most likely in range. And let's look at the Ethereum in the weekly. Ethereum weekly is now bullish. Yeah, the Kumo's up, Kijun Sen, Tenkan Sen up, and Chikou span above the candles. So the market just broke the previous high of 4370.49, and now it's bullish. And this is, I think, all-time high. Yeah, since this is all-time high, we can continuously look for the buy chance. But if the market breaks the Tenkan Sen on the weekly chart, then you better either exit or you don't look for buy chance. But as long as market is above the Tenkan Sen, that will be a good buy chance. Let's see. Stefano says, do you think that vaccines plays are still good to buy long? I'm not sure, to be honest, because I haven't followed these stock markets. I only trade Forex and gold when it's trending. So yeah, I'm not too sure. And I don't want to comment on the things that I'm not sure. So I think I will just avoid to answer that question. Chan says, do you use MACD? No, I don't. I use stochastics, but I don't use MACD. Yeah, Kayon, thank you for the reminder for the like button. So if you like it so far, please press the like button before you leave. That would be great. Stefano says, which indicator do you suggest along with Fibonacci to trace retracement? I would recommend to draw lines because you might see trend line bounce along with the Fibonacci retracement. And also, in terms of indicator, I use the Bollinger Bands. I use Bollinger Bands, and Fibonacci combination works very well. So that is my suggestion. So personally, what I usually do is, let's say, if this is Forex pair, then I look at the daily chart or the forward chart to capture the market direction. And if I found the market to be uptrending on either time frame, then I go down to 1 hour chart or 30-minute chart and see if also one of these time frames are up. And if I confirm the uptrend like this in 1 hour chart, then I go down to 1505, and in these time frames are exactly when I start to use Bollinger Bands and stochastics. So let's see, in the 5-minute chart, in this case, we can use the Fibonacci level, like in this way, the previous low and high, and see if we see the bounce on one of these Fibonacci levels. So, and also, if you can draw the trend line, looks like it just broke the trend line. So, but if it bounces here, and if the market goes up, like in this way, that will be a powerful confirmation. 38.2% bounce, and also Fibonacci, trend line bounce. That will be a great buying edge to capture. So yeah, and also Bollinger Bands. I use Bollinger Bands, and if the market is in between deviation 1, 2, that shows the strong and stable uptrend. So if the price is on that range, then I will also take it as one of the confirmations to buy. So like this, I build up confirmations, more and more confirmations to buy or sell on these lower time frames. Hello Dinesh, good to see you. Thank you for joining. All right, let's see. John Harris says, I forgot to mention about the Excel spreadsheet tutorial upload. Oh yeah, so Excel spreadsheet is only available for the GTS members. And right now, there is a free version of the Excel spreadsheet available. So you can actually look at it here. You can go to my website and click here download and Profit Manager Excel. And you can have this video here, important 3 numbers for the risk management. This is the YouTube video here. And if you scroll all the way down, then you have this spreadsheet that you can download, Profit Manager. So please, if you haven't looked at it yet, please have a look at it and try to calculate your own risk and also look at some important numbers in this spreadsheet. Yeah, so risk management is the very key to success because it connects also to your psychology. Hello Blackwater, thank you for joining and you're welcome. Thanks for the comment. Indra says, what about gold? Yeah, gold, I have already covered it and it's ranging on the weekly but uptrending on the daily chart. All right, yeah, good to see you. Good to see you here. Joe says, hi Kay, for stochastics indicator, do you use the default setting? No, in stochastics, I use this input, percent K30, percent D10, and smoothing 10. And I only use this in the lower time frames, in 5 or 15-minute time frame. All right, Jalaj says, Sensei, please show how to use pivot points on lower time frame for take profit or stop loss levels. Personally, I don't use the pivot points, so I can't answer to that question, unfortunately. I used to use pivot points, but not anymore because I prefer the lines and pivot points. Stefano says, Kay, did you have times of difficulty during your trading experience? Of course I had. Is it possible to trade with a few hours per day? Yeah, it is possible to trade a few hours per day. But personally, I never sit on the chair for a couple of days or a couple of hours per day and take trades. I never do that. Every time I screen charts, I only do so in a couple of minutes. And if I found a good setup, then maybe I will sit for the next 1 hour or 2 hours or so. Otherwise, I simply stay away. So you don't have to monitor charts hours and hours per day because that's not time efficient. So ideally, you want to minimize the time for screening and time to decide to trade, and then make profit the most. That is an ideal and the most time efficient way to trade. And in trading, it is possible. If you have a good system, it is possible. But on an ordinary job, it is almost impossible because you get paid according to how many hours you worked or how many goods you make, for example. You get paid according to the numbers in time and products. But in Forex or in any tradings, it doesn't go like that. So it doesn't matter how many time you screen charts, how many hours you screen charts, and it even doesn't really matter how many trades you take per day. But what matters is just simply if the market goes towards a direction or not. That's it. And in doing so, you don't have to screen charts many hours per day. So time efficiency is very, very important to success. Right? Jalaj says the Fibonacci, how do you take lowest and highest point? How many candles do you have? A video on that, and also RSI and Bollinger Bands. Yeah, so Fibonacci, I use it in the 5-minute chart only. So what I expect, what I look at is, I look at the market on the N wave in 5. So you have a couple of N waves here. So for example, there is one N wave here, and there is also another N wave over here. So if I see multiple N waves like this, then I use Fibonacci on the most recent low and most recent high in 5. Because what I'm looking for is the next N wave in 5. So I want to see in which level the market will bounce and goes up in this way. That's what I'm wanting to catch. And that's why I use the Fibonacci in the most recent low and most recent high in 5 or 15. Sometimes I see traders go Fibonacci like this all the way down and top, but this is not the right way to use. Well, actually, this is the right way because, this is the right way if you are watching the chart, watching the N wave as this. Then this is the right way to use Fibonacci. But because I use 5-minute chart, and in 5-minute chart I see many more small N waves, and that's why I take the most recent low and most recent high and capture Fibonacci level. And so in this case, the market retraced back to the 50. Sorry, it's not the 50. It's already broken the 61.8% level in this small N wave. So I won't use the Fibonacci level in this case to trade anymore. And I have videos about Fibonacci level on my YouTube. So you can search on my YouTube channel, Fibonacci, and then you can find some videos in that. All right, so I guess I will be ending the live stream for now. So yeah, once again, thank you for joining everyone today. So I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday, and please relax and charge yourself and get ready to trade next week. So we have less big news next week, but in case there will be a big impact on any occasions, please check news before you take trades, and always make sure to put the stop loss, because stop loss is like a seatbelt on the highway, right? So thank you for joining everyone once again, and if you liked it, please press the like button before you leave, and I will see you on the next one. So until then, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay gold. All right, bye for now everyone. Mata ne. Thank you.